The course is Entrepreneurial Business Planning, and it's team taught by David Cromwell and Maureen Burke. And they both go through the concept of startups, and they talk to the different students and advise them on writing the business plan. And throughout, they'll teach from the perspective of venture capitalists and what folks who are able to give funding to these startups might be looking for in the business plan and what sort of elements they'll be curious about and what the teams, the startups themselves, should be thinking about as they're going forward with their planning. David and Maureen started the class out with this framework of what we should include in the business plan. So they would walk us through, and each week the lecture would be focused on one part. So they would walk us through, here's how you think about your market, here's how you think about your customer, here's how you think about your product, and so on and so forth. And so that gave us a very clear way to focus our process as we worked through the class, which was very helpful.
Maureen and David spend a lot of time with us. We meet with them at least once a week, and they give us comments on every little thing that we do, and they turn them around really quickly, and their comments are incredibly thorough. So they've just helped us just rip apart the whole business plan and put it back together several times.
We say over and over, it's very important to think through the details, to not just have an idea, wing it. It forces you to, writing the plan forces you to go and talk to your customers, make sure that what you think they want is what they actually want. Forces you to really look at the competition and understand what they're doing well and what they're not doing well, and position your business accordingly. And it really forces you to do a lot of the things that people take for granted and think are easy, which is the production side, how you make the product, and the selling, which is probably the part that people most underestimate the difficulty of. Is having a great product is not in itself sufficient. You need to figure out strategies for how you're going to find your customers and sell to them.
When I worked on Wall Street at JP Morgan, investing in venture capital, we saw hundreds of plans and saw so many plans that after a while I could instantly tell a tragic one from one that might make sense. And it's that experience seeing so many hundreds of plans, the good, the bad, and the ugly, that allows some perspective in judging a student plan. The plans in this year's course had a lot that were going to be online businesses. A bunch of them, various ideas for doing that, from food to medical records. And fashion changes in the year 2002 through 2006. You couldn't start an internet business if you wanted to. They'd all gone bust in the great crash of 2001. Nobody would invest in them, and they all went away. So for a while in there, we had plans that were more down to earth. We actually had a factory or two, a couple of schools, but internet is hot again, and so students are trying to come up with ideas, in part because the capital cost of an internet business isn't very high. It's mostly software and ideas, and that means you don't have to have a lot of money, which most students don't, to start it.
The name of our company is Zoko, and the premise is that you cook once every certain duration of time. So let's say over the course of 8 weeks, you cook once, and then the next 8 weeks following that, someone else cooks for you. So there's a reciprocity in what you give and what you receive, actually. So in doing this, you save time, you save money. It's a social networking opportunity, and it just helps you kind of grow with the community as well.
Zoko organizes the networking and logistical efforts behind creating dinner co-ops and maintaining those. So you could pull together a group of 5 people or a group of 400 people, and if you want to cook dinner for each other on a rotating basis and have this aspect of socialization that's ongoing, then Zoko helps organize that via websites and mobile applications that will help you get connected to groups of people, as well as manage the logistical efforts involved.
One of the things that I really liked about working with this team is we have people from, 3 or 4 different schools working on this project together, and we get to bring that kind of all those different perspectives into building the business plan, which is in itself about bringing a bunch of different people together.
Starting my own company or being a founder of a company was not something I thought of doing when I was coming to do the MBA. And it's an experiment that I wanted to try out, and it was fun to be able to do it in such a sheltered yet structured environment. And I think the key lessons for me from the class are structure, patience, focus, and then these different perspectives of the venture capitals, the PE guys, the people who are starting a company, the people who've been running a company for a while. Getting all of those in the same room at the same time and being able to talk all those languages consistently, without any discrepancy, without any hot air, that's a big thing.
It would have taken me years to establish the resources that this course gives you in one semester. So within a very short period of time, you're hooked up to professionals in VC, you're hooked up with different competitions where you can compete for seed funding, you're hooked up with mentors throughout the community, you're hooked up with a framework for what you should think about with your business plan. So all of these resources come together, and they come together very, very quickly.
At the end, you have this amazing business plan that's reflective of not only all of the work you've done, but all of the learning you've done. And so there's kind of like this feeling of triumph at the end when you have this great plan and that it is actually, you know, a realistic plan that he's helped nurture you and push you towards.
Over the years, students send me their business plans after they've graduated 8 years ago, saying, would you take a quick look at this? I'm actually going to try to start this now. And we have many startups, more startups, years after graduations than we do right after the class is over. So I think the learning is the goal. And if they actually start a business in town, great.